The root of all excellence.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Root of All Excellence.
Welcome.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. So I do want to touch base because we were just finished watching Dahmer.
Yeah.
And so we're actually I'm really into true crime. I would say you're pretty much into it.
Yeah.
You share it, but I feel like I'm more into it.
Yeah, and a lot of time I just support you.
Yeah, just watch with me, go along with me. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting series.
Yeah.
So we watched the series. We didn't watch the tapes. So this was the series, the movie part of it.
Right.
And just kind of want to give our review, our thoughts, kind of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, let's get into it. But just as a update, like we're gonna do the tapes.
Yes.
So when the tapes come out, we'll do a review on the tapes as well.
Yeah, we'll probably check in about the tapes. And then they also have the John Gacy tapes on there too.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta watch.
And also, let me just mention this before we get into the Jeffrey Dahmer thing. There's a Netflix documentary on the dude who was molesting the daughter and then got to the mother, and then you would think oh man, well, it stops here because now the father's involved, and the father gave him a hand job. Gave the nigga a hand job.
Yeah.
So I really want to go into that, rewatch that and kind of give our review on that, because funniest, most craziest documentary, and I don't even remember the name, but
yeah, I don't know that it was. I think it was just very weird.
Super.
Very, very weird. And so, yeah, I guess it'd be interesting to go into that one too. We can do that one later.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So to Dahmer. Did you like it?
I thought it was amazing, low key.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's very rare, the Netflix does a series like this, and it's this level of entertainment.
I think they have some every once in a while.
Yeah, they're hit and miss.
Right. It's something for people to binge on Netflix.
Right.
I think it's an interesting story, and maybe they added some more to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
For entertainment purposes.
Right.
But I think the general sense of it, since I didn't know what was going on with Dahmer really.
Right.
I mean, you hear about him, you hear his name, you know that he was eating people.
Right. I kind of heard about Dahmer early. Really early. I don't know if it's because I'm from that region, but you kind of heard about him super early, and even it was big back then. So even some of the things you watch would make kind of mentions of it. Right.
I think I've heard mentions of it in different things.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know the story, understand really what happened, what he was doing, and the impact.
Right. Me too. I mean, I would say that I didn't understand the level of impact and the depth of what he was doing.
Right.
So, definitely.
Yeah. So for Dahmer, he killed, was it 17 victims?
Something like that.
He had 17 victims.
Something like that.
But I think that the craziness of it, so there was a 13-year reign of terror, is what they called it.
Right.
I think the craziness of it is that it went on for so long, and he didn't even try to hide it.
So, my understanding was he was kind of a twisted, kind of a mastermind serial killer, right? And then when you look into the actual what really went on,
Right.
This dude was retarded. Like he wasn't even trying.
He didn't even try.
He didn't even try.
He used his real name.
Right. He used his real name.
The same places.
Went to the same places. Mingle with the same people. Right. It's a scene where like the guy stops another guy from getting in a taxi with him.
Right.
He bumping into the same motherfuckers because he just ain't switching up.
Right. And nothing happened.
Another scene where he goes back to the same bathhouse in which he drugged the person.
Right. Drugged the guy multiple times.
So like it was a level of like sloppiness that you really don't see.
No, because he went to the bathhouse, drugged a guy.
Yeah. Went
back to the bathhouse. The bathhouse guy was like, "Oh, this guy does this. This is not the first one," or something like that.
Right. So it was kind of known.
And then he didn't allow her to come back again. So it wasn't even like a mix up like, okay, well, I better switch it up.
Right.
No.
It was like he wasn't even trying.
He didn't even try.
Let's start off with the beginning, right? So when it opens up, it's kind of like him in the club doing what he do, right? Right. Trying to recruit. He tell people, hey, listen, I hit you with a little 50 or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Take some pictures.
Right, take some pictures, whatever. Get him back to the apartment, right? And this is the actual guy who got away.
Right.
So in the beginning, they show the end and kind of the following episodes is like what led up to that point.
Right, kind of go back.
Right. So, black dude, one of the funniest things, and you see it throughout social media, is the black dude was like dancing.
The way he was seducing him.
Like he was trying to get Dahmer that work so he can get away.
Right.
So
it worked.
It worked. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of. Well, yeah.
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, I think it played a part in working. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what was kind of surprising to me in the beginning was like, so he gets away, and the police, for no damn reason, put him in handcuffs.
No, he was already in handcuffs.
Oh, what? Okay, so he was already in handcuffs because
Dahmer had
him handcuffs, and they was like going back to get keys,
right?
The handcuff key kind of thing,
right?
Okay, so so.
Took him back though.
Took him back
to the apartment.
Like you leave this person in a car, something.
Right.
You don't bring them all the way back up there.
Right. Is this the guy?
This
what you talking about?
Yeah, here you go, right here.
Yeah.
So
you want to come in? You don't want to come back in here?
No, he ain't. You're right. You don't want to come in with us? Hell no.
I think the level of police neglect in this entire series was like
at an all-time high, right?
Mind-blowing.
Yo.
And it's disappointing.
So think about this, right? Now, mind you, he had several run-ins with the law. Right. And every time it was like kind of dismissed. Right?
Kinda.
I mean, with the court, you kind of got a light sentence, things like that, right?
Right.
Imagine people that don't have this many run-ins with the law.
Right.
Or imagine the level, like if he was Dexter, if he was as smart as Dexter was.
Right.
You ain't never getting caught.
Never.
Ever.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? If a sloppy person who, using the regular name, hey, I'm just be out here just drugging and killing people.
His apartment,
the smell, right?
Yeah. His grandma's basement.
Right, the smell. It is to the point where, like, he's so brazen to the point where, like, he's not covering up shit.
Nothing.
He's not even interested in covering it up.
No. And like his story of, some pork just went bad.
Yeah, some meat went bad.
I'm gonna have to get rid of it.
Right.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Right. That's only gonna play out for so long because how much motherfucking meat are you copping?
I mean, the neighbor knew.
Definitely.
So you can't be like, how did nobody know? She knew.
Right.
And she was telling people,
Right.
but they weren't believing her.
Right. So, I mean, it was just too many opportunities for
to stop it.
Yeah. And one of the things I wanted to mention real quick is people don't realize that this is Wisconsin. You know, and Wisconsin is a very like, you know, I don't want to say racist, but
they were racist. The way they treated that Asian family, they were racist.
Okay, we can use racist then if that's what you want. I'm talking about the state as a whole is very like.
Oh, I don't know about the state as a whole.
Right, the state as a whole is a very like white state.
Right.
Which most states are. Just to keep it real.
Right. As a whole state.
Right, but I think they're more conservative in that way.
I see.
You know what I mean? So when we see him go to court,
yeah,
and the judge go, "You remind me of my grandson." After
sexually assaulted.
Right. So hold on, let me get this straight. You would say that a person who sexually assaulted a gentleman reminds you of your grandson? Your grandson out here sexually assaulting people?
Right.
Like, so it was very like, you know, like racist in that way. I mean,
he definitely got the benefit of the doubt. On every, like, so many levels.
So many levels.
So he got caught sexually assault or charged with sexual assault with the Asian boy.
Right.
And then I think later, the other Asian boy, they were related. The one who, the neighbor, he got away, but then the neighbor found him and called the police.
Right. Okay.
And they were outside, and then he said, "Oh no, that's my boyfriend." And then they let him go back, escorted him back into the apartment.
Right. Took him out, like, brought him back.
Right. Unresponsive, can't even say anything.
Right. And it's like obvious that this is a kid.
Right. Even if it wasn't obvious that this is a kid, you can't say anything.
Right. So we can't just let a motherfucker just go with you.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I think that the police and the way that they operate, right? Because I mean, obviously, he lived in a predominantly black community, right? It's a scene it's a part of a scene where he goes, "Come on in, man, before we get robbed."
Right.
Right? Meaning like, but he was at his grandma's house right there.
Grandma's, yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you live in a bad neighborhood and then you probably move to a worse part of the neighborhood where you have like a closer access to some of these clubs and some of these individuals in the club. I remember he and I don't know if this, I think it is in the actual series where he goes, I would look for some of them in the paper.
What?
The victims.
Oh. See if they were missing?
Yeah.
Missing people.
And so I think that because it wasn't like a emergency kind of thing, right? If you can kill, and let's be clear, back then being gay was like taboo still.
Right.
Right. It was more on the scene, right? Especially in the area where you got like house music and you know, things like that. But it was very like taboo.
Right.
So just being a black gay man,
yeah.
I think that if you were to come up missing, it was very likely that the police will look away from something like this.
Or they're just not going to put that much effort into it.
Right, right.
And I think we saw that with the guy that was deaf.
Right.
I can't think of his name.
Oh man, you gave me a hard time about this guy's name.
I know.
His name was Tony?
Tony, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Tony. But like the way that his mom went to the police.
Right.
You kind of see that play out where they're kind of just like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do kind of situation.
Right.
But yeah, I think it just on so many different levels just kind of fell through the cracks and was neglected, and he was just given the benefit of the doubt
Over and over and over, right?
Yeah.
Now I would argue that if your house smell like that, like come on,
Right.
to the point where it's affecting like other, because when he's in handcuffs, is this like the first episode when he's in handcuffs?
Yeah.
You see like a bunch of people like we tried to tell y'all, and
Right.
you see that,
When
and
they
then
arrest him.
right, and then he walks kind of like past his neighbor's door, and she like comes out, right? So it was multiple people trying to get the attention of law enforcement to let them know that,
Right?
something is not right with this.
Right.
Something is not right. We need y'all to come check it out because I'm pretty sure something is not right.
Right.
But because I think that he was like a white young male, he was able to like slither in that way.
Right.
Especially living in the black community, right? Just think about the level of policing that goes on in the black community, right?
Right.
And then you have this white dude who,
Apartment smell.
it's looking like he being picked on.
Right.
So
Or they're just giving him a hard time.
Right.
Or he's just dirty.
Right. So I mean, this was a great series. This is a great series. It went in depth with a lot of the things that maybe myself didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was very important that they kind of showed that the negligence within the criminal justice system, right? Whether it be actual policing or the judge that kind of gave him a light sentence,
Right.
or them not even like, or them not taking serious some of the things that happened. Remember the guy that he drugged, that got away, they put him on a bus.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. The grandma.
Right.
Him and the grandma.
She knew right then.
The grandma.
Of course she knew right then.
She knew. That's why she sat downstairs with him.
Yeah, because she knew.
Yeah.
There's no way you killing entire people
Mm-hmm.
and don't nobody know about it.
Right. In her home.
In your house.
Right.
In a house that you've been living there.
Right. And
now all
then-
of a sudden this door is locked and all kind of shit.
Right.
So
There's a smell coming from down there.
right.
I'm going to call your dad.
Right.
The dad, I don't know. I have a hard time with the dad because
I think he knew as well.
I think maybe they knew, but you don't want to believe that about your kid.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
You don't want to believe that about your grandkid. So I can get how they can kind of try to make sense of something else is going on other than what I really think is going on.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But the way he reacted when grandma threw away that mannequin.
Yo, come on. Any real person would have just been like, listen, either you tripping or you tripping.
Right. I don't know. Like, I thought it was like a flash, like, oh, this is what I was thinking in my head.
Nah, he flipped for real.
He
like
really went off on grandma.
over a mannequin. I threw it away. Flipped.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
I don't know. I knew maybe she just thought he was weird.
right. And I like how they went back and kind of showed that for the most part he's kind of been like this his entire life. It wasn't nothing that, like triggered him into this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This interest.
Right. I think maybe his father showing him like how to dissect shit.
Yeah, the roadkill.
Yeah, it might have made it worse. But
I think it piqued an interest in him
right.
that it just escalated.
Right. But also I thought it was important that they show like how much of how dumb he was. right? Remember when the man snuck into the picture, though?
The honor society.
Yeah, so number one, like, who does this, right? That man snuck into the picture.
What's the GPA? Like a 0.5 or something?
It was something crazy.
1.5, something crazy. That was hilarious.
And
I found that amusing.
Super hilarious.
That was funny.
But what was even more funny is the fact that when he went to look for it, they had blacked it out.
A marker. That was even funnier. Like, who has the time to do that? Who has the time to actually go through all the yearbooks and cross out somebody's face?
You gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
That's crazy.
So yeah, but things like that he would do, they show how, you know, the people around him kind of wanted him to do good, kind of supported him. He went to Ohio State, right?
That got him in.
Got him in, and then
got kicked out.
That man grade point average was like a 0.5.
Yeah, something like that. But how do you get in? I don't know.
I don't know.
How do you get in and you trash in high school?
Think about that on the plug level, right?
Right.
If you wasn't, come on. You ain't getting into Ohio State, but your dad could pull a couple strings and make it happen. Right. So yeah, I mean, and then that didn't work.
Right. Got kicked out.
Went to the Army. He drugging motherfuckers in the Army.
Right.
That didn't work.
Right. Was he a pharmacy something in the Army?
I
think that's where he got his.
Yeah, that's where he learned about the medication and things like that.
Right.
So, maybe he had something to do with that. I'm not too sure.
Huh.
But then he get to drugging motherfuckers in the Army. He get kicked out the Army.
Right.
So I think it was very important that they had showed like how consistently like a fuck up he was.
Right. How many levels?
Right. How many chances that he got to actually do something. And it may be to some sort of mental illness that he just couldn't, right?
Maybe.
Also, I think it was very important that they show how much of an alcoholic he was.
Yeah, that part too.
You know what I mean? So they went in great detail when it came to this series.
Right.
So it was definitely dope. What are some of like your favorite parts of it?
So I think like when he got caught, right?
In the beginning or?
The beginning. I think that kind of set the tone.
Right.
Right. Of this. But I think the story of the neighbor.
Right.
Was very interesting to me too. Because you're living next to somebody and you're calling and you're hearing these fights and you're hearing these people being killed, literally.
The drills. And
you're hearing people with the power tools. Like you're hearing people getting cut up. Like you're hearing these things and you're calling and calling and calling. And nobody is taking you seriously.
Right.
Like the level of frustration that must have had, like the toll that took. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you finally get him to be getting evicted. You finally get the manager to be like, all right, we're going to evict him.
Yeah, you got to go.
And he come over with a sandwich.
First of all, let's back that up really quick, right? I'm not, because this is the part where I was like, yo, what the hell was she thinking, right? Now, I'm pretty sure, this is my conspiracy again, you're not letting nobody in your apartment that you consistently called the police on. That's number one. Number two, you know he stank.
All right.
You gotta stink.
Yeah.
If your apartment stinks to the point where my apartment stank,
right,
you live there. You gotta stink, bro.
Right.
So you just gonna invite him in, let him sit all on your couch, stinking.
All your clothes stink.
Yeah. You smell just like that apartment.
Right.
So you just gonna invite him in, come on in and sit down right here. And then he offered her a
A
sandwich
sandwich.
and said it was sort of like a kind of a pulled pork thing.
I want to see you eat it.
I want to see you eat it.
Nah.
Now, whether this is like true or not, I think it was a very like it got your emotions involved.
It really did.
Right? Because I was like, yo, why would you let him inside? Then it was like, I know she ain't finna eat this motherfucking sandwich.
Right.
So.
But I think it showed like also like her strength.
Yeah, definitely.
Her strength was very like highlighted.
Yeah.
So I think her story kind of had her in a good light.
Yeah.
In terms of like her efforts and the impact that it had on her. And even though like she wasn't a direct victim, like a primary victim, she was definitely a secondary victim.
Oh, definitely. And just to think about how it affected her,
right?
Considering the fact that she tried, she tried
over and over,
and it just didn't. It has to have like a profound effect on you,
right? Even with that little boy that
you seen him,
you took him, you had him,
right? And the police,
and they walked him back up there,
right? So I mean,
yeah, I feel like that.
Definitely.
That part of the story is very like sad and touching.
Yeah, and the amount of people who just didn't do their job is like overwhelming, right?
Right.
And only a white person to get this many goddamn chances. Right. I hate to say it, but only if you white do you get this many chances.
It's definitely privilege showing.
Definitely. So it was a time where he was driving drunk.
Right.
Like a body in the back.
Right.
Chopped up or some shit, right?
Trash bags maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he get pulled over.
Right.
They just let him go. I had a couple beers. All right, cool.
Yeah, I don't want to see you again.
Right. Okay. Only in this state country do, especially then, right, do you get this many chances of getting caught, and because you are who you are.
But he's not even anybody special. You know what I mean? Like, he's just regular drunk kid.
Right. And you let him off the hook several times.
Maybe because he looks so non-threatening.
Probably.
Like, he looks like you're really not a threat, so.
No. And also, like the judge said, like, you know, if you can relate.
Right.
If, I mean, you look like, you remind me of my grandson.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're relatable.
You're so young, you can turn your life around.
Right.
Opportunity.
Right. It's just that I felt like, if you was black, this would have never went that long.
No.
Not being this sloppy.
No.
Not with white people calling the police on you.
No. Absolutely not. For one, they wouldn't have walked old boy back to the apartment.
Definitely.
The bathhouse, bath places.
Come on.
They would have had the cops there waiting for you.
Right. So.
Like.
And I don't know where you could put like an unconscious person on a damn bus.
That's because he was black.
And it's okay. Just, yeah, it's cool. Just let him ride the damn bus.
Right. He's drunk.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. But I think that because they showed all of these things, it kind of gives insight on how he got away with it so long. How many people just neglected to do their job.
Right.
Right. And because of it, the result is 17 people got killed.
Right.
You know, so, and I believe that his father and his grandmother is grouped into that
neglect.
Yeah. Because come on.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
It's only so long before you, if it gets to the point where you're going, no, I'm sitting down here.
Right.
Then you know.
Right. Something's not right.
You know something is not right.
Right.
And you know he's not being honest about it.
Right.
Right? And then when the police show up to question you about it, you don't bring up your suspicions
at all.
You can let that go.
Right.
So I mean, it's definitely a great way to show what can go on if everybody don't do their due diligence, right?
Right. You don't say anything. Yeah, so I think another thing is kind of like the way that this kind of has to be relived by the victims.
Yeah.
Every time something like this comes back up, or they do like another story, or the series on it is really popular.
Right.
So the victims' families have to kind of go through and relive this and kind of be reminded of it.
Right.
So it might be something where you kind of have healed some, right? It's been, what, like 30 years?
Yeah.
About?
Yeah, well, over 30 years.
Over 30?
Yeah. I mean, he was killing in the 80s.
He got caught in like 90, right? 90.
Like 90, 91-ish.
Yeah. It's about 30 years.
Yeah.
And then this comes back up to where
right,
you're having to relive it. You're having to, remember on a negative level, on a different level, because you see, like, if you watch it,
right,
as the victim's family, or they ask you to participate or be a part of like the story, I think that could be difficult. I know I read one of the victims' sisters was saying that like nobody is even like nothing goes to the families in
right,
terms of like the profits that Netflix get from like the streams and stuff like that.
right.
They don't get anything.
Right. And you would think like the victims would own the rights.
Right.
So that every time something is like
done
on this,
published,
they'll at least get like some money related to it if you have to relive it.
Right. So like I know they sued for the book, like the dad wrote a book at the end.
Right.
And they sued for like his profits. I know the Asian family, they got a settlement from like the police.
Right.
But it wasn't really much there.
Right.
For the neglect that they had with that family.
Side note, with the Asian people, I thought it was like very, and I don't know how true it is, but I thought it was very unique on how like they showed like the police was the ones calling and harassing them.
Right.
Right. So it kind of gives like a different perspective on how kind of like the police department operated.
Right.
And
but I think the whole system there too, like the way the judge will ask for a family member to translate for him, and he's speaking English.
Right.
He has an accent, yeah, but he's clearly speaking English.
Right.
I could understand him, so I know it's not too hard to take a moment and listen and try to understand. So I think like on several different levels that it was disrespectful to them. The cops calling, the way the judge treated him.
Right.
The way the police treated the kid. Both the kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because one kid, they took back upstairs. Then the other kid, he got home. And then that's the one where he got 12 months of work release in jail for. And so, I don't know. I just feel like, and it kind of showed like at the end where the neighbor was trying to get the building to become like a park in honor of the victims, like in honor of something positive.
Positive, man. Let's not forget about the victims.
Right. And they kind of just went around it and was like, well, you know, red tape, and we don't have this, we don't have that.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that because of kind of the way policing was within the black community, specifically back then, that Dahmer kind of did he target, because it's a lot of black dudes he killed?
Right.
Do you think he targeted specifically like black gay men?
I feel like it felt more so like it was crimes of opportunity. I feel like because he was in that area, that's just where he happened to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his grandma lived in a black area around the corner
Right.
from the club or whatever.
Right.
So that's where he happened to be. Or he moved into the black apartment complex.
Right. So you think like it just whoever was around, he was gone.
Right, because the first victim
Was a surfer dude.
A random hitchhiker.
Right.
Right. So I think it was more so opportunity. I don't feel like he was as thoughtful as to actually target black people as opposed to they were just around.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think no matter who was around, because I mean, it wasn't like he put much thought into it. It was just, I need.
Who's going to be my friend to come take photos for me?
Right. And whoever would have went just kind of.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Right.
Yeah.
Who am I going to look at and seduce?
Right.
Whatever way.
Right.
Whose drink am I going to drug?
That's it.
That's it.
I thought it was very kind of crazy how he used to drug them.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be kind of like bold. Because the in the first episode, the guy kind of seen it.
Yeah. And he said it was dishwasher soap.
Right. So why would I drink? You know what I mean?
But he still drank it.
Yeah, that was the crazy part. It was crazy.
And maybe just because it is older and like fast forward, we're in the age of where women, you don't leave your drink.
Right.
If you leave in your drink, you're done with your drink.
Right. And they got like different, accessories for your drink now and all kind of things. So.
Right. But yeah, if you buy your own drink, you don't let anybody buy you a drink. So
right.
like there's a lot of like caution.
Right. And it was maybe it's because of
things like that.
Yeah. That happened.
Because there was one scene where they were dancing on the dance floor and then they came back to the bar to the drink.
Right.
And I thought that was odd because that was the Tony guy.
The deaf guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he like handed him his drink like he didn't have the opportunity to drug him.
Right.
The crazy thing is he actually got away. Right?
Yeah.
Or he could have got away, but he forgot something.
No.
And went back.
He went back.
Remember,
he got away.
He left. He was like, I'm gonna see you next week.
Type thing.
And then he forgot something.
And when he went back, it was just
right. Which is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
because I feel like with that, it kind of shows like they were kind of building a relationship, friendship, whatever it may be.
Right.
I don't know how long that time frame was.
Right.
But there was interaction to where more than just like a one night.
Definitely. Like he even was a part of like, some of the photos that was taken at the studio and things like that.
Right.
So yeah.
So I feel like that's why it makes me think like it's just about the opportunity as opposed to him actually targeting people.
Right.
Because even with that, you're kind of getting to know somebody. It's not just like I found him at the club, so it don't matter.
Right. He was doing this with people he was just meeting and also people that he had was like growing a relationship with.
Right. Spend some time with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of like, I don't know if you say eye-opening or disappointing.
Yeah, like I think because one of the scenes, he took a victim like to the hotel.
Right.
And he accidentally drugged himself.
Right.
To the point where he had to go back and drug the other cup. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. So I think just figuring out the drugging of it.
Right.
And then you drugged yourself, but then he wakes up and this guy is dead on the bed.
Right. So it was almost, I don't know, but that scene kind of gave me like the feeling that it was something that he couldn't always control. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, because like wake up and think this person is alive and then they're dead.
Right. Like beaten to death.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just think that on the different levels, like there could have been more for the victims that was done. There could have been more, and maybe the victims will do a lawsuit
Right.
for the rights. But I think they definitely should have it, like the victim families
Right.
should have the rights to whatever anybody is gonna like make money off of the grief, the pain, and what's actually gone through or happened to the victims.
Right, because this is not like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers. This is like for real.
Right, real life.
And I felt it was very important that they showed how much love he got after he was caught.
Right.
Right? They had memorabilia.
Memorabilia they sold. Oh yeah, the victims got the profits of that, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so the guy, he said he bought everything because he didn't
burned
want
it?
it. Yeah, he
Okay.
didn't want it to be a collector's situation
Right.
and just give you guys the money.
But the amount of like fan mail he would get, money,
Right.
letters saying like, yo, you know, I look up to you and
Right.
whatever. I thought that was very important.
It's scary.
Yeah. I know that Boosie came out and was like, man, we should definitely like boycott that movie because of what it really is, right? And I don't disagree with that. Like, kind of showing this thing in this light and then watching like social media kind of play with it.
Right.
And it's a real thing, right? But also, I think it's very important to show all of these things so that people can be aware, people understand what's out there. For a person to kill 17 people and become famous, how twisted is the rest of the country?
Right.
How twisted?
Right.
Right? Have bodies in this apartment and head in the refrigerator. He around here just eating people.
Right.
Cutting, making steak and
Organs.
Right, just eating people.
Right.
He told the one dude, I want to eat. He was like, I want to listen to your heart because I'm going to eat it.
Right.
Right. So he out here eating people and everything. And he becomes famous.
Idolized.
The amount of, this is what fame do to people. Right? People do not care what you're famous for as long as you're famous.
For a moment.
Right. But how twisted could you be when you know that he had a head in the refrigerator?
Right.
And you're like, hey man, you know, I just look up to you.
Right.
How twisted is this? Is this like what are we doing?
Here's $20.
Here's $20. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll give you a little bread.
Right. You have fans.
Right, he had fans.
Right.
Fan mail.
Right.
And he mentioned it. He go, my fans think so.
Right.
So I thought that was a very important aspect of the movie. And also, how does that affect like the victims' families?
Right.
To watch this guy like murder all these people. We tried our best to actually stop him. Y'all neglected him.
Right.
Y'all neglected to even help. And then when he finally gets caught, he's a sensational superstar now. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so.
And then 30 years later,
It's still going.
it comes back up.
Still going.
Right.
Also, I mean, I understand that this can be like triggering to a lot of family members who witness this type of like brutality during that time, right? But I also think it's important that we don't forget that people like this exist, right?
Right.
People like this exist, and so I would think like it's probably one out here right now who's smarter, more witty than Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right.
He got to wait, 13 years?
Yeah.
He wasn't even trying.
He wasn't.
Wasn't even trying. How it smelled like he cutting people up.
Right. He got bodies in the refrigerator.
In like plastic, like ready to like you know how you have like some pork chops or something, straight up in the plastic, right? So I think it's a great reminder that people like this exist,
Right.
right? Whether we want to believe it or not, you know,
Right.
but people like this do exist. Let's be careful, right?
Be careful.
You don't want to end up part of the new Dahmer series, you know what I'm saying?
Whatever that may be.
Right, whoever that person is, so.
Yeah. So you definitely got to be careful. And I think that's, I guess it's a sense of caution, like knowing that people like this exist, knowing that you don't know who it is.
Right.
You don't know what this person is actually thinking or capable of.
Right.
And so don't trust everybody that you meet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of your surroundings.
And just as like while I'm thinking about this, right? So Dahmer was homosexual, and he killed like mostly homosexual like victims.
Right.
I just want the homosexual community out there to be careful, because remember the politician dude, the dude that he was like a politician donor, Democratic.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
In West Hollywood.
Right.
They had a series about him too.
Right. Like 2 people was found dead. One dude found dead in front of his house.
Right.
One dude got away.
He was doing the parties. Yeah.
Well, it looked like he was doing the same shit as Dahmer.
Yeah.
Drugging people.
Right.
So I know I say a lot of things that can be perceived as like homophobic, right? And I don't want people to think I'm homophobic. It ain't got nothing to do with me. But I think they have to be kind of careful, because they live in this scene where they live in a world where, you know, kind of sexual freedom exists.
Right.
So it's kind of easy. Well, it's easier to trap them.
Right.
Right.
And I feel like now, even like more so these days, because there is more sexual freedom and exploring and openness. But I feel like you still got to be careful, and you still don't know this person.
You still got to be careful, man.
Yeah.
And I don't want nobody to go through what these victims has been through, whether it's Dahmer or the guy in West Hollywood or anybody, right? So if you're a part of the gay community, the LGBTQ plus, is that how you say it? Community.
Yeah.
Just be more careful, because of your sexuality, and I'm just, in my opinion, this is what it's looking like. Because of your sexuality, and you're part of a community that's like sexually free, right? A lot of people will try to use that to their advantage,
right?
Because you're easier to trap, right? And who knows? Like the guy in West Hollywood could have been the next Dahmer if he didn't get caught. You know what I mean?
Right.
He could have been the next Dahmer. Who knows? You know?
I don't know what was going on over there.
Right, but it definitely sounded similar.
Right, but also the difference is he was a donor, political donor.
Right.
He had money.
Right.
Dahmer had no money.
Yeah, no money. And he wasn't even trying.
And the donor, somebody was coming out of they found him dead.
Right. Then the first time they didn't do anything.
First time nothing happened.
Right.
It was just having a party and overdose. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think, you just got to be careful and protect yourself the best that you can.
Definitely.
It's a scary world out here.
Scary, scary. Maybe this is wrong to say, but I don't care. So, the guy who killed him, he still is alive. Put something on that man books.
The guy in jail?
Prison. Now, mind you, they said that he had like a mental illness and he was kind of in there for murder already.
Right.
You know, and maybe that's the case.
I mean, I think both could be true, but I don't know that that's like a connection between the two, right? So a lot of people with mental illness don't kill people.
Definitely.
And a lot of people kill people that don't have mental illness.
Right. And
it was calculated.
Definitely.
So.
Right. Also, the level of arrogance after he got caught was like,
while he was in prison.
Right. While he was in prison was like, come on. You getting fan mail and
yeah. But I think that kind of heightened the arrogance, right?
Definitely.
So that, and then the fact that he's sitting alone and he's eating alone.
Right.
Like, you don't have any friends.
Right.
So maybe it was just to get attention. It felt like he was attention seeking, and
maybe.
And it just came off like
wrong. Yeah. But also I felt like in the movie they kind of made it look like it was a hit. Like when they killed Dahmer.
Right.
Like they kind of put him in the same area on purpose so that Yeah, so.
And the other guy that got killed, right?
The other guy got killed.
With Dahmer.
Right. So apparently, like the other guy who got killed,
he killed his wife
and blamed it on the black dude.
And blamed it on black people, yeah. Which wasn't true because he killed his wife.
Right.
But to say like, oh, a black man did it, or two black men came and, so
blamed it on the black dude. I went to look up the case, and it was so crazy because like she was like stabbed so many times.
Yeah.
Right. And sure enough, tried to blame it on like some black dudes or something. And so like in this scene in the actual series, he do him. They don't even show how he did him.
In the bathroom.
Right.
And then he had that
like a mop stick or something.
Stick that was all bloody.
Yeah. So he do him and then explain like that dude killed his wife.
Right.
You know what I mean? So obviously this guy, because I mean this is true, it's not made up. This guy who has a mental illness only kills killers.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? So is you wrong if you kill killers? It's a question. Good question, huh?
Like Dexter?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If you kill a killer, you wrong.
If you kill a killer, this is how you know they killed him. How you know they're actually a killer.
Well, I mean, in this case, where this guy actually
like Dahmer?
Dahmer. Come on, Dahmer got like red-handed.
Yeah.
And he was working with the police, so he like told him everything.
Right. So I understand that. But like, say the other guy, right? So say the other guy said, the black guys killed my wife and they end up in prison.
I see what you mean.
It would be wrong to kill them because they didn't actually kill the wife.
Right. But I think that was the purpose of them showing that he actually do research, or he actually did research.
On the other guy.
On both of them.
I know he did research on Dahmer.
Right, but this is probably like a normal thing for him.
Research?
Yeah. If he gonna kill you, he has to know for sure. Otherwise, he would have been killed Dahmer. But he didn't know what he was in for.
Yeah, he didn't know anything about Dahmer or why he was so popular.
So he
just knew he didn't like him.
Didn't like him. What is this guy in for? Let me look. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he had already previously done his research on the other dude.
Maybe. Because the librarian said that you're not supposed to have access to this because of your mental illness.
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah,
you never know.
Maybe there's a pattern with him.
But that's a question I want to give our listeners, you know, and hit us up on Twitter, you know, ROAE_podcast, and also Instagram, ROAE_podcast.
Yeah.
This is the question. Is you wrong if you kill a killer? If you kill killers, are you wrong? I just want to know you guys' perspective on that question.
What's your perspective?
No, you can. I mean,
So your perspective, no, you should kill a killer. You're not wrong for killing a killer.
nah. Especially if it's personal.
But if it's not personal,
I think it depends on the level of killing, right? Like Dahmer, come on.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Come
get
on.
it.
Like you,
I get it.
right. So I think that part of it, if it's not personal, then it depends on the level of killing. Yeah. Of how much, if you get one person, y'all got into an argument, whatever, right? But like if you've killed 3 people just for no reason,
Right.
do you deserve, like is
So
that
is
guy
that like death penalty talk too? Because a lot of people a lot of states have the death penalty.
right? And
See?
it's hard because we get into that later,
Okay.
right? I don't want to,
Okay.
you know what I mean? But I do want to have that question out there for our listeners, and give us your perspective on the series as well. You know,
yeah. Did you guys watch it? Hopefully you watched it.
and if you haven't, you have to go watch it. I mean,
spoiler alert.
yeah, we spoiled the whole thing, but still, go watch it for yourself. Let us know what you think about it. Yeah,
It's not really gory. You
right.
don't really get too much gore.
Yeah, it's not too crazy.
No.
It's not like a Quentin Tarantino film or nothing.
No, nothing like that. But it is sick and it is twisted, and to understand like what he actually did and the crimes that were done, it doesn't feel good.
Right.
But if you're into true crime, it's a good watch, good binge watch.
Right. Definitely. And I also feel like they're gonna do a Gacy like series like this.
Oh, maybe.
Because they kind of touched on it.
In the end, they kind of went into, and I was like, what is going on? Like, who is this guy?
Right.
I'm thinking he's a copycat.
Right.
Only because it's at the end. But no, he wasn't. He was before him.
Right. So I think they kind of tied that in. And so maybe that's next. We got to see.
Yeah.
But they do have the Gacy tapes out. So maybe we'll watch that and do a review on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as always, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
And remember that mental health is real and self-care is important. We up out of here.
Have a good day.